Thank you very much, Raghav, for those extremely kind words, which I'm not too sure if I deserve. Professor Krupashankar, I had a fortune of meeting him at IIT Kanpur also, and now I get to meet him in his new avatar. And eminent educationists in the audience, ladies and gentlemen. It's my proud privilege to open this dialogue with all of you. As Professor Krupashankar very correctly mentioned, that any amount of ink has been spilled over the subject, but still the dialogue between industry and academia has to continue and must continue. Only thing I would further like to add is that it should produce even greater results than it has produced in the past. First of all, I would like to compliment Raghav Mittal, Sachin Jain of UPT Watch, and Ravi Gupta of Digital Learning for this brilliant initiative. There couldn't have been a more opportune time for these kind of initiatives. The kind of problem that industry is today going through on employability, I actually do not have words to express those problems. The entire software industry today, as all of us know, but let me still talk about it as a representative of the industry. Entire software industry today is reeling through the problem of attrition. For some of us, it might be surprise, but it's an unfortunate reality in a country of 1 billion plus people, and in a country where 400 to 500,000 young minds come out of colleges to to get into some meaningful opportunities. This is the real unfortunate reality. The problem is so acute that industry faces it in multiple ways. Let me quickly narrate the various ways through which we are facing this problem. Number one, and the biggest I would say, is the delivery to our customers has started suffering. Till the time we had, as an industry, we had benches, we could, we could go to go through a scenario where one person, if he has moved out of the particular role, you would bring in the next person, and still you would be able to deliver. But when when the attrition rates hit 20, 25, 30% kind of ranges, it is virtually impossible for anyone to do any kind of planning by which you would still be able to maintain quality, you would still be able to maintain the schedules, and you would still be able to maintain the costs. It is absolutely impossible. So that is the biggest issue employability gap is creating for the industry. Next issue is we feel sad that we are not able to nurture the young minds to deliver value to the customers, to value to society, simply because of the fact that even before they have started learning anything on the job, there is a call from headhunter, and if this boy or a girl has done 6 months or a year of job, then he's in a way qualified to get a call from a headhunter, and he gets an offer of 20% plus, 30% plus, and unfortunately, which is attractive enough, and unfortunately for, I would say, himself or herself, and also for the industry, and also for the customer, he moves out. And in the process, if he had started working on a particular project, he does not know were the lacunae that were there, what were the problems that his customers faced because of his work or the way the project was designed or the way the software was designed, and that learning goes west. Whatever learning he had for those 6 months, 9 months, year, 2 years, that is not complete. That it is like you had started designing a building, and even before you get to see the building functional or in usage, you are moving out, so you would not know how the plumbing has failed in some of the places, how the electrical connections have not happened properly, and so on and so forth. So that is the second loss that we have as an industry. The third loss, and that I would say is slightly longer term, is the fact that the profitability of the industry as a whole is eroding, and in the process, the R&D that the industry would have like to get into R&D kind of activities, those are not there at all. Thanks to this huge attrition, all the work that could have come or can come, even today can come, has in a way stopped coming or has stopped tapering. I mean, today we are still okay in the sense that we are getting work, but 5 years down the line, 7 years down the line, 10 years down the line, when the Chinese come into the market with their English language skills and their ability to work multiple times harder than us, one cannot visualize what sort of bloodbath would be there in the industry. Typically, when the Chinese come in any industry, we have all seen them, they would come at least with 20% of the global pricing, if not something like 10% of the global pricing. And today, if Indian software industry is getting $4,000 per person per month, and if the same work can be handled by somebody at $400 or $800 for that matter per person per month, then you can imagine the pace at which the work would start moving to China, and pace at which we would be, our industry, which is essentially consisting of 2 million people and $50 billion worth of exports, the pace at which this industry would, to begin with, stop growing, and over the period it will start deteriorating. If we do not do something drastically today, we can very clearly see this writing on the wall. 5 years down the line, 7 years down the line, and in the best case scenario, 10 years down the line. Because I am absolutely convinced, as far as this part is concerned, that there is no area of human endeavor where the Chinese have not excelled or will not excel over next 5 to 10 years, and we cannot assume that software is one area they would leave for us Indians to continue to take lead on. If you talk to anyone, be it students, be it professionals who have had first-hand experience of dealing with the Chinese, you would very quickly realize that in terms of hard work, we really do not stand a chance when they come out in the market. So that is the situation when it comes to industry situation, industry's woes, industry's problems on employability gap. And I would also agree with the theme, which is information asymmetry, because when Raghav and Sachin came to meet me, I was absolutely shocked to hear that 200 colleges have decided to close down their IT and their computer software departments. If you ask me, there couldn't have been a bigger shock. And let me explain you the reasons this was such a huge shock. We in the industry have always been assuming that these 400,000, 500,000 students who get into colleges and come out at the end of 4 years, that for some reason will continue forever. Whether we do something about their employability, or whether we discuss that employability with them, or we don't discuss, that is immaterial. And when Raghav told me that this is what has happened over last 2 years, and Sachin gave an example that he couldn't convince his own cousin sister to join computer science for her engineering degree, that indicated everything. That communicated to me at least that the problem has become even more drastic than I had ever imagined, and we do need to do something very urgently and at some substantial scale. Raghav used the term movement. I think we need to really launch a movement to turn the tide around. We do need to do the brainstorm, and that is the reason the moment he mentioned that they are planning something like this, I said this is the best opportunity to open the dialogue and start doing something, start understanding what the education industry's problems are, and I also like the term that has been coined, edupreneurs. If I could get opportunity to interact with edupreneurs and understand what their issues are, then we would be able to work together and address this particular issue. Our biggest issue has been that we have never spoken to each other. We have just assumed that bright students will keep coming out of colleges with whatever are the skill requirements of the industry, and obviously that cannot happen. As they say, when in the software industry, if you want to get a software developed, the specifications you cannot, there is a phrase that is used, you cannot throw over the wall and expect that software would come back. But unfortunately, that is the kind of situation we were in. We never talked to the academic institutions. We never went there, and we were expecting that employability would be there, and any number of people will keep coming out. Now I have given the negative side of the story. Thankfully, the opportunity side, the positive side is also as bright. Today, for example, today we have just 2 million professionals working in the industry, and multiply this number by 25,000 and we get the number of $50 billion. And with just 2 million people, we are able to generate $50 billion or 22.5 lakh crores worth of revenue coming to this particular industry. And for our population, where we are 110 crores, 2 crore professionals working in a particular industry, and especially this kind of industry, is not something that is unimaginable. And when we increase this supply, when we start producing consistent supply from the education, consistent quality supply, we would be able to visualize that kind of a scenario. Today what happens is, come 2003, when you had .com bust, and the ability of the industry or willingness of the industry to hire hits the bottom, and you would find any number of engineers willing to join you at any salary, or for that matter zero salary. Then the boom starts coming, and the attrition rates start going through the roof. You reach a scenario where there are any number of tales. I can narrate them, which would indicate you that now the demand has become so much that the so-called extra demand has gone to the boys and girls heads. So that is a scenario that we hit the moment attrition starts going up. Come 2008, another recession in the global scenario, and situation is exactly similar, where any number of people would not get jobs. Even the brightest of them would not get jobs, and they would not know what to do. And even when someone well-meaning is trying to explain you, because the environment says something different, you just do not want to get into that industry. And again we start getting into the problem of huge attrition rates and all the related problems that I have just narrated. However, the moment we improve the quality of education, what is going to happen is this up and down, this roller coaster ride would come to an end. We would be able to hire people at salaries which are affordable by the industry, which are affordable by the end customer. The youngsters would be able to continue in their jobs for 5 years, 10 years, the way it used to happen, till let's say 5 years back, or till 10 years back, and they would be able to learn something. We would be able to move up the value chain. We would be able to start thinking of product development. We would be able to start doing some meaningful R&D, and we would be able to create a sustained demand for 20 million software professionals over next 10 decades, next 1 decade, next 10 years. The industry has that kind of a potential. If you ask me, we have not even scratched the surface of the opportunity, but because of our short-sightedness, we are getting a feeling that the software industry has reached its peak. Some of us in the industry already start talking about it, or at least the boys and girls who are wanting to get into the industry, they are absolutely lost. And that's where I would like to commend the job that UPTU Watch is doing, commend the job that digital learning is doing, and I would like to close my remarks by saying that let us start discussing how can we increase the quality of the education overnight. We from the industry side are willing to start sending professionals who have some experience. It could be 1 year experience, it could be 2 years experience, it could be 5 years, 10 years experience, to start explaining to begin with what is industry. Because another very interesting point that came up was that when youngsters come out of colleges, or when they come out of schools, they don't know how to decide which engineering degree they should be going to. They should be pursuing, whether they should pursue computer science or civil or mechanical. They have no clue, because there is no one that they can talk to, because their parents have done farming or have done some shop. They have been running a shop and so on. So they have no clue in terms of what exactly is computer science. How does it help them? How does it not help them? In what situation should they get into computer science? In what situation should they get into mechanical, and so on and so forth. So information asymmetry is existing across multiple levels and across the I would say educational universe, and we from the industry side are willing to overcome this information symmetry as fast as possible and as much as possible. Let us start talking about it. Thank you.